Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Games to the Max. This is episode 273, and this is the start of something cool, everybody. Of course, we are the official podcast of WTNet.com. We're in partnership with Last Word on Gaming, but we are now also part of the kind of funny Best Friends Network, which our wonderful guest here, Matt, from the Burnout Brighter podcast, is our first guest that comes from that great Discord.
Woo! Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super stoked to be here.
Well, it's awesome to have you as well. And of course, always with me, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And Mr. Randy Isbell as well.
I'm back. How's it going?
Yeah, didn't have to wait too long this time, Randy. So we're trying out this video thing. I have a ring light. I'm probably going to be messing with the light the whole time. So, somebody watching on YouTube can tell me when it looks good or not. So we did video way back in the day. It didn't really work that well because the technology wasn't good that we were using. And a lot of times lip syncing sucked. So, it's better to just wait till things got better, and we're gonna try this here. And plus, kind of Bunny Best Friends is trying to do this whole thing around creating a lot of content around E3, and a lot of the people that are on there's a lot of podcasters, but almost everybody does video of some sort. So you got to kind of come up with the times. It can't be dinosaurs.
Yeah, I've heard this YouTube thing is going to be popular someday. I don't know.
I heard kids like watching videos. Apparently, that's apparently a thing.
My kid has no idea. She's 10, has no real idea what, cable is, any of that. She just watches stuff on YouTube. How nice is it, right? Like, we had to grow up with whatever channel had whatever.
Right.
And our kids just get to grow up with, you just watch whatever the heck you want, with a million different content creators for whatever you want to. Like, that's so nice, isn't it?
It's amazing. I just remember looking up whatever I could find in, the lowest common denominator. Which of this I'm going to hate myself the least for watching, and just watch that if there's nothing good on.
Yeah. Well, guys, should just go ahead and start with how y'all been doing. Mark, did you have anybody ruin your day with bad games?
Yeah, I got screwed out of buying Persona 1, which ticks me off.
Really?
No way.
Yeah. The store said they're going to be open at 10 on their Facebook page, and they're actually open at noon. So I left to get breakfast, came back, and there's already some dude waiting there, and he's like, "Oh, I'm buying that game." I'm like, "Yep, thanks."
So how much were they charging for Persona 1?
$150.
Okay.
Like, the price charting is like $400.
Okay.
Holy crap.
Then yeah, that's a nice wad of saving money there.
Well, it wasn't complete. It was just like the game, like the disc and the box. But yeah, it's like $400 on price charting, and there's like a copy on eBay for like $440 with the manual.
God.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thankful every day that Sony decided to walk back that PS3 thing, because imagine all those games that would have been.
I mean, you can play that game very easily on a PC or a PSP or anything, really. But
right,
I don't have the actual game disc or the game.
Fair enough. Randy, anything going on with you?
No, well, I guess, finishing my first year of college, it's finally in the book, so that's nice to celebrate and to get the girlfriend away from work for a bit. We're going to Vegas for the weekend.
Wow.
So gonna have some fun. Eat some very expensive food. That's my only plan.
I mean, you can't go wrong with eating as long as it's good. Very expensive.
Well, it better be. We're going to Hell's Kitchen, so it better be good. Or I'm going to turn into Gordon Ramsay real fast.
Matt, what's been?
Oh man, I just moved back home to Canada from South Korea, so that's lots of change going on. But now that I'm stuck in the 2-week quarantine, I've just been pretty much sitting around and playing games all day. So it's not a bad thing right now.
I mean, so like, is there anything that you like have any memories of South Korea that was something like you really enjoyed there, or like?
Oh man, I taught there a few years back. Ended up coming back to Canada and then went back for a second stint. I loved it so much. I lived in Busan, which is like on the southern part of South Korea. So it's kind of like a Miami-esque beach town. I loved everything about it. I could have stayed there for much, much longer, but life calls at some point, right?
Yeah, true. It's always nice to be back home.
Yeah. It's nice to see the family and friends for the first time in a couple of years. So it's a beautiful country, and if anybody gets the opportunity, definitely go check it out.
Go to many PC bangs?
I didn't right up until the last month that I was there. I tried to go once a couple of years ago, couldn't understand anything. But then a couple of my Korean buddies were like, let's go, we'll take you. And I introduced them to Apex, and they got addicted. So we went almost every day for the last 2 weeks that I was there playing Apex. So that was fun.
Make it game related at the end. As somebody that lives in Miami, I guess I can kind of picture what that's like then.
Yeah, it was really nice.
I'm getting my second Fauci ouchie tomorrow, so hopefully we'll be all covered now. And yeah, just trying to get all this stuff going on. Oh my God, I feel like every time I get into that Discord, there's 20 more people join.
Right.
And you're like, how do you keep up with all this stuff? I feel so bad for people that are even higher than. I mean, I'm part of the planning team, but there's people that are above us dealing with more stuff, and I'm just like, man, credit to those people that are doing a fantastic job wrangling everybody together and trying to get us all. I don't even know how this is all going to go for E3. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be interesting with that many people involved. But everybody seems passionate. Everybody sounds really, really excited to work together. So as long as we kind of, plan things out properly, I think it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, and that first commercial is out there, and you can definitely go check it out on the kind of funny best friends network has a Twitter, which I'll put in the description there of the show, and you can go and check it out and then watch it. And there's some major people that are on that Discord, along with us up and coming folks that matter too, that are gonna be on there. That it's cool that we're all gonna be able to collab and do this. And before we get started, because we didn't get to do this with Carl because we got it started in the show and then forgot to talk about his stuff with him. But luckily, we'd already, Carl's from the Outer Haven, just like Shadow Haxer and Keith over there. So we kind of already knew those guys, but we're all trying to learn more about each other here. So people don't know who you are or your podcast. Introduce yourself. What do you what's your podcast called? What do y'all talk about?
Yeah, thanks, man. Cool. We're the Burnout Brighter podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, any of those big podcast networks, or over on YouTube at youtube.com/burnoutbrighter. We mainly talk about video games, but we usually like to loop in mental health or social justice or representation. We talk about a whole lot of stuff, sometimes, just the news, but we also do reviews. We also do news content. So we have a whole bunch of stuff. If you're looking for, more from me, you can also find me at burnout_Matt on Twitter. But yeah, YouTube is kind of where we live and breathe. Have more reviews and more cool stuff coming, and the podcast lives there as well. But if you want to catch that audio, you can find it anywhere you want to. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Usually starts off pretty ridiculous, and then we get into some serious stuff as things goes.
I mean, that's if you're not having fun on the show you're doing, why not? Why are you doing it?
What's the point?
How long y'all been doing this?
About a year and a half. My co-host and I, Darren, had talked about it for a couple of years. And then we met Destiny, which was our third co-host, and we all kind of locked in together. We're like, all right, this is the way we want to take it. And we started about a year and a half ago now. We're coming up on our 90th episode next week. So that's, slowly trucking along, but it's been a lot of fun.
Almost at that 100, man. That's a milestone right there.
Getting there. We're excited.
It was funny because the first episode I listened to was the one where they hide, your Destiny, and I can't remember the
Darren,
name, right? Darren, they hijacked it because you weren't on there.
Yeah.
So it was fun to listen to, and I went to listen to the one on the before that, which you were on. So I mean, they do a terrific podcast. You guys should definitely check them out. It was extremely fun to listen to from not This is what's cool about this whole Discord is all of us. There's a lot of us that don't have no idea who each other are, and then you listen to people's content, and you go, "Wow, that's good." That's like such great stuff. So I really.
It's awesome being exposed to so much different content that you never would have been found otherwise. Like it's just there's so many cool people in there.
Well, like this kind of goes into our first big topic that we're doing, which was a thing that for some reason was becoming a thing on Twitter this week of franchises that you never got into or didn't get to play for one reason or another. But before we get into that, just because I always like to know where people's like what do you like, where your like gaming comes from. Like, so what are your favorite genres? Some of your favorite games that you like?
Oh man, I'm a huge JRPG guy. Listening to Mark talk about Persona 1, Persona 4 Golden is my favorite game of all time. And I have a lot of love for Persona 3 and 5 as well. I haven't gone back to 1 and 2 just yet. I picked up 2 on the Vita a little while ago and just haven't gotten around to starting it. But JRPGs are kind of my bread and butter. I usually play on the PlayStation. We'll play around on the Switch as well. But that's my thing. I love RPGs. I love, narrative games and, the visual novels. All that kind of stuff is my stuff. I like it a lot. Anything with a good story, and I'm usually there. The multiplayer stuff, I Rocket League for a good long time, and some Apex as well. But yeah, JRPGs are my thing.
That's me too, man. My favorite game of all time is Chrono Trigger. So I like a lot of the older stuff. Mine kind of blends towards the J and the RPG. That's gonna be one of my things that I talk about is I don't have a lot of Western RPGs on my list of games that I played because they don't usually appeal to me. I'm not the ones that I wind up playing. I guess maybe I play the wrong ones. They just don't. Like, I turn on a JRPG, I'm immediately in my zone. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, there's some of them that I reviewed East 9. I made the bad mistake of Bravely Default 2 came right after, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to review another long game.
Yeah.
But I've loved just being able to go through it little by little, and just kind of savor it and enjoy it. And it's like, it's 2 different games. One's an action RPG and one's the traditional JRPG. But they're both great. And it's cool to know another JRPG fan.
Yeah.
Here. So, you're gonna replay that Final Fantasy Remake and the UP DLC?
Yeah. I'm getting ready to. Ratchet's gonna kind of live and breathe for me until we get to that the Final Fantasy 7. What is it? Retrograde?
Intergrade.
Intergrade. God,
Square
man.
can't come out with weird. They just can't come out with a regular name. It has to be something crazy. Intergrade. All right.
It can't be a Square game without a Roman numeral and just a regular number in there. So, as they like to do. Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I'm ready for a replay. It's been a while.
I mean, like, do you have any? Like, what was the first system that you had?
I came up on the PS1. I got it from my parents on Christmas, and I'll never forget like playing it for like an hour. And my dad was like, "All right, go to bed." And I caught him the next morning at like 7 a.m. with my uncle still sitting up there playing Disney's Hercules. So he totally made me go to bed just so that he could play. And then it was that and the Game Boy. It was pretty much where I started, like the Game Boy Pocket.
Hey, that's my first Game Boy. That's cool.
Yeah. So it was that, and then we eventually got an N64, and then pretty much every major console since then outside of the Xbox One family. At that point, just kind of stayed on PlayStation. But yeah.
Hey, I mean, there you go. Like, that's cool. Like, I started with Super Nintendo. Randy,
I'm old, okay? Atari over here. God.
Nice. That's awesome.
You got
Young kid talking about starting on PlayStation. I was a teenager when the PlayStation came out.
Mark, what did you start on?
Game Boy. Original one, and then I went to SNES because I didn't get a NES at all.
Yeah, I was my brother had the NES. I have a picture of me playing Mario next to him, but I don't. Mine was the Super Nintendo, and I played Mario World forever and ever. Like, my sister's actually the one that had the PS1, so I didn't really get to play a lot of that stuff. But she had Crash, so that was like the game that we both got to play together on that. And Randy's a big fan of the platformers, so But since we're talking about it, what are the franchises that you feel like everybody would go, oh my god, I can't believe you haven't played this? What is that for you, man?
Well, if you'd asked me this like a week ago, it would have been Mass Effect, but I have just hopped into the remaster. Otherwise, I was thinking a lot about this today because I was kind of like, what haven't I played? I've actually never touched Oregon Trail in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I just never have. No good reason for it, but just never did.
That's my
favorite. They have
favorite
a newer one now.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of second grade. we played Oregon Trail in class.
Yeah. In class, that was what you did. Like that was like one of the like 2 games that you could play on the computer. And
that and like number munchers and yeah.
I think I had like
your character died of cholera all the time. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, I'd never touched it. Like my school games was always like I was like a Math Blaster and like there's a one like a circus or something. That was always the stuff that I played in school. So Oregon Trail I've never touched.
Awesome.
Along with I kind of lumped these together, but Civilization, Age of Empires.
Okay.
Those kind of top-down strategy games aren't usually my thing. And World of Warcraft. Never played World of Warcraft.
I mean, your life may be better for that one.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
I don't want to tell the stories of friends that lost their entire college education because they played.
I know those. I mean, we obviously not the same people, but I know the same kind of person that you're talking about, Sean.
See, but now I started the very dangerous habit of Final Fantasy 14, and I'm just nervous about the slippery slope that's probably coming.
Next time you come on, you'll be talking about your WoW character being level 60 or something.
Probably. Yeah, but those are kind of the big ones that I've never played. League of Legends is probably another one. Every time I see that game, I'm just kind of like, Jesus Christ, that looks like one of the most complicated things I've ever seen in my life. Younger brother is super into it, but for me, I look at it and I'm just like, my eyes hurt just looking at it.
I think League is the same way as me. It's really an intimidating game. I have some friends that play that game, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we take it. We're casual. We'll have fun with it." And I played for 30 minutes and got yelled at the entire time. I'm just gonna play something else. It's okay. You guys go and be good because I am not.
Yeah, I asked a friend of mine who's very into it, and I was like, how many characters are there now? He's like, over 200. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean over 200? How could I possibly pick anybody starting off? He's like, just do one. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll stay over here on the PlayStation. Thank you.
Well, Randy, what are those games that like everybody be like, holy crap, no way you didn't play that?
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I mean, Matt fixed it last week, but I maybe have put an hour or 2 into Mass Effect ever. And I think I even own all 3. The one, when I was trying to come up with answers for this question, a lot of them, I like RPGs as well. As I've gotten older, I just have less time for them. So I've missed out on a lot of them. Mark had brought up Persona 1. I've played very little Persona in my life. I tried Persona 5. The tutorial took 5 hours, and I went, nah, I got it better things.
That's a short tutorial too.
Right? It is. It is.
And Matt brought up one that was with me. I remember playing Age of Empires back in the day, but it was more of the Civ games. I have not touched those at all, so I'm right there with Matt. Like Sean said, I'm more of a platformer guy. Give me a game that's under 10 hours, and I'm stoked. So these, especially now I'm getting closer to 40 and I got 2 kids. So these 50, 60, 100-hour games are like, they're very intimidating anymore.
It's a big time commitment. It's a huge time sink, especially like you said, sometimes the tutorial takes a while to get going and it's like, I could have beaten the game by now. So I completely get what you mean.
Yeah. And PlayStation continues to go, hey, I mean, you can get Persona 5 free on the the PlayStation Plus thing, and Royal's on sale every 2 seconds, and Mark and Jens are big fans of it, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll give it another shot, but I'm gonna go play Crash again. That's what I'm gonna do. Mark, what about you?
For me, it's Pokemon. I have one of them. One of the Switch ones. I think that the first they made 2 of them. I have like one of the Fox one.
The Let's Go Eevee.
Yeah. I played like 3 or 4 hours of it, and then I was like, yeah, I'm done. If I'm going to play this, I'd rather just play Jade Cocoon on PS1. Another one is Battlefield. Never touched them.
Let me tell you.
Never will.
That is the worst one. Is that if that's your exposure to Pokemon, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really have handhelds. Like I had a Game Boy, but like I was aged out of Pokemon when it came out. So
that's true. Really? I mean, like,
I was like 96.
How old were you when that came out?
I was like 11. But like, I don't want to be playing games. I don't want to be playing Game Boy games at that time. You know.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I also had a Game Gear, and it's like, hey, that's in color. Like, why is this shit still in green, like green and black?
Okay.
And another one for me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say another one for me is like The Sims, or any SimCity, except for like the 2013 one, which I reviewed, which is not good, and killed Maxis. But as far as like the RPG bent, I'd say another one is Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I mean, until 11, I hadn't played Dragon Quest either. Then 11 came out, and I was like, I had to play it. And then I played the other one. I played some of the other ones.
Yeah, we're showing my age. I still call it Dragon Warrior, so I don't care. I don't care what people say.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's what it came out as here. So, sorry, I have this new ring light that I bought, and it fell down the entire desk and broke in half. So I had to like put it back together while we're doing it.
It's okay, Sean. I muted you for a little bit. I'll let you do construction in peace.
That's why we shouldn't do these tests like right before we start recording.
No, it's just like, okay, so this desk that I have is very square. So a tripod doesn't work because the tripod legs have to be like out, and then the other thing that comes with it, I'm scared that it's gonna like break my laptop. It's like a clip, but the light's kind of heavy, so I'm scared that it'll just like all of a sudden halfway through recording the laptop thing will go and break. So I was like, that thing costs a lot of money. Don't want to break the laptop, you know. So oh my god, I probably have a bigger list than you guys. I never played a Metal Gear Solid. So yeah, I'm sure Randy is shaking his head already.
Can't be friends anymore.
Let me see. Man, it wasn't until Resident Evil 7 I hadn't played a Resident Evil, and then I kind of went backwards.
I never played a Silent Hills game.
Yeah,
No Silent Hill, is that what you just said?
Yeah.
What am I doing on this podcast?
I don't think I have either now that I think about it.
I mean, there's only 2 of them. Well, one of them really that you need to play.
Silent Hill 4?
They had Silent Hill.
Oh god. Silent Hill 2 is the only great one. Silent Hill 1's okay. Silent Hill 3 has an interesting twist, and then after that, you don't have to play them anymore.
Didn't Shattered Memories do good? Like the Wii one?
Well, that was a Wii version, like basically their remake of one.
Yeah.
With Wii controls. So I'm sure it was good. I never played the Wii one.
Which was the one that asked you like a bunch of questions as it started? I think it was also on Wii.
That was Shattered Memories.
That was Shattered Memories?
Yeah.
I had limited experience to that one. I just remember sitting at my friend's house and he's like, let's pick all the scary ones. And I was like, I don't know what to do here.
No, that's a series I'm a fan of where people say they haven't played Silent Hill. I'm like, you haven't really missed much. I mean, everyone's like, we need more Silent Hill. I'm like, do you remember the last 7?
Yeah.
Do we?
I guess so. Another one for me is Breath of the Wild. Maybe I had not really played that much Zelda. Breath of the Wild just threw me through I'm not big on games where you give me too much openness.
Yeah,
that's why I end up liking. Yeah, go ahead.
I played like 7 or 8 hours of that game, and I put it down because I'm like, this is overwhelming, and I'm not quite sure what to do. Like, I beat like the first dungeon, and I was like, okay, I guess.
If you guys need any help, my 12-year-old has just beaten this game for the first time and has told me has told me multiple times, "Hey, Dad, if you need any help, I'm here for you." I was like, I've played way more games than you've ever played in your life. Just because you beat one game I've never beat. Stop. But he comes up with his chest up. Like, get out.
Gotta get that swagger.
Right?
Gotta be ready.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's the important part, though. Is like that he's playing those games and he's beating them, you know. So, yeah. So like, I just didn't. I've owned I don't know how many Zelda games, and then I just never play them for some reason or another. Something else comes out and I don't play them. So and Breath of the Wild was just like, okay, this is way too much overwhelming stuff. You know, as somebody like loves Xenoblade and there's so much exploring and all that and stuff in there. But at least like there's a target, like I know where I'm going, and there's a direction of like, okay, here's the main plot. There's about 50 different side quests over here, but you know you can decide that on your own. So I'm sure that there are so many of these like must play games that people. But it's good to know where you come from, right? Because like for all of us that review stuff, there's some people that go, oh man, how do you not know about this game when you're trying to make a comparison? It's like, well, I never played it. So, you know, it's
especially in the last 20 years. I mean, there are blind spots for any gamer. And anyone that says, no, I don't have a blind spot, you're lying. There's been so many games that have come out. It's
impossible to have played everything now.
It's way too expensive to have played everything, and you don't have enough time. So, I mean, you pick and choose and you find what's right for you, and then that's what you play.
And why knock yourself in the head trying to play something you don't like? You know, like, I get it. We should all probably play. Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's podcast content for Jens and I. That's hard.
Well, that's true, too. Randy and Jens have a podcast called Chapter Select where they play, like, one game every couple weeks, and it's pretty fun.
We take turns picking which game we're playing, and we have the most opposite gaming libraries. So one of us is really grumpy every 2 weeks. It's great. We have
What's been your favorite game that your co-host has picked for you so far?
He picked, and I'm going to now forget. There was a shooter on the PS3. Binary Domain. That actually I hated it for the first few hours, just because I mean, obviously it does not age that well. But once you kind of get into it, I'm like, all right, I've enjoyed this. Unfortunately, I don't think there's been a single game I picked that he liked.
What about Dark Cloud, man?
Oh God!
No, he hated Dark Cloud.
Yeah,
he hated that thing.
I think he likes Resident Evil 8. He actually does like that quite a bit.
Yeah, so far so good on that one.
Well, let's get into that. You already mentioned it. What is you finished it, Randy? You finished Resident Evil 8.
Absolutely love this game. Absolutely love it. And I don't think I am one of those Resident Evil fans that has soured on Resident Evil 4. It's nowhere near a bad game at all. It's a fantastic game, but it's not the kind of Resident Evil that I like. I like the old school RE1, RE2, RE3, you know, trying to manage your inventory and trying to figure out, should I shoot this zombie or should I not? Should I save the bullets? RE4 is a lot more, you know, you can kill every zombie there and you're not going to have any issues. So I was worried about 8 because obviously it took a lot from Resident Evil 4. And it absolutely did. But I there's not a second in this game I didn't like, and I think it's because that every domain that you go to, every region you visit in this game is a completely different kind of horror genre. And they never outstay their welcome. You're there for 2-3 hours and you move on. There's only one spot where I felt like, okay, I've been here long enough. We can move on. And it's kind of near the end of the game. And it's more of the shooting section, which wasn't my cup of tea. But I mean, they've got one section that is very much like Outlast. They have one section that's very much like the old school Resident Evil games. They have one that kind of takes a boss idea from Resident Evil 5. Like they just molded all of these ideas together and put them all in there in different chunks. So it always felt fresh and interesting. And as a big Resident Evil fan, the lore dump that they throw at the end, like they have in the last couple games, blew my mind, and I absolutely loved it. I couldn't recommend this enough to anyone that has enjoyed the Resident Evil series. And if you haven't really played the Resident Evil series, again, they keep most of that lore to the last hour and mostly in one room. So you're not going to get confused for the most part. Obviously, it's a sequel to 7, but they do a little video recap of what happened in 7. So you kind of understand what's happening to start that game. But if you haven't played Resident Evil, there's going to be something in that game that you enjoy.
So do you like Ethan Winters or not?
No, Ethan Winters is a terrible main character. He's not as bad as some people think, and they kind of give him a bit more of a character. I just got to the point where I find it so funny that they've gone so far out of their way not to show his face. Like in pictures that you see of his family, the lens glare covers his face. There's scenes where they finally show him in third person, but it's always from behind. And the moment he starts to turn, they change the camera angle. So they make sure that he has no face.
That's because the facial model is actually Carrot Top.
Oh my God.
Probably. But no, it's really good. Obviously, what 7 did so well were the characters that you meet, the Baker family. All of them were very interesting. And it's the same thing here. There's basically a family that you go through in Resident Evil 8. All of them are completely different. I loved all of their characters. They were all unique. Obviously, everyone loves Lady Dimitrescu and freaked out about her. I'm here to apologize. She's not there for very long. For as long as the promos went. But obviously
I
they were
don't
doing...
think that they planned for her to be as big a deal.
Well, I don't think they planned for her to be as big as they were. And obviously they didn't want to spoil the rest of the game. So they were all of the content that they were showing was early on in the story. So there's a lot of twists and surprises in it. But it's my game of the year so far. Not that there's a lot of competition yet. I mean, Ratchet and Clank will probably be the biggest competition to it. But yeah, right. I loved every second of it.
Matt, what have you been playing?
I finished up Returnal not too long ago. Great game. Loved a lot of it. I wasn't a huge fan of the technical issues. I had a couple of hard crashes and a couple times where, I backed out to go to Netflix to watch something with my partner, came back, and it wiped my playthrough. Did
the audio ever cut out for you?
The audio didn't cut out. I did have the video cut out where I could still hear everything that was happening, but just everything was black.
I
think the opposite. Like the audio like cut out, except for like the controller audio, but like the game was still fine.
I think I would rather have Mark's problem.
Yeah,
yeah, but the audio is actually kind of important in the game, so it's kind of an issue.
But still, I'm not ready for a blindfolded run of Returnal anytime soon.
Yeah, it would make it at least a little bit harder. But yeah, technical issues aside, I had a blast with it, and it was one of those things where I finished it and I started reading up, stuff about the game, and then they're like, yeah, the mode that you can, find another player's dead body and face a cool boss or whatever. I was like, man, I didn't even know that was a thing because I guess it was disabled for the first little while that the game was running. I don't know if it's still up or not. So I finished that up, had a lot of fun with it, and then I just got back into Mass Effect. Picked it up for the first time. I'm probably about 10 hours into Mass Effect 1. I'm enjoying it so far. But man, I can't get over how bad the mini-map is. It's just atrocious on how little it tells you. Like, it shows you enemy pings, and that's about it. And there's no quick button to pull up the map. So it's like, pull up the pause, go into the map. Okay, here's where I am. Exit out, go a little bit in that direction. Be like, okay, let me pull it back up and figure out back out where I am. The minimap shows you nothing about like your location or even just like a rough outline. You're on these big planets driving around aimlessly.
You can't set a waypoint though. That helps.
Yeah, you can at least see that once you get close enough to it.
I mean you can set a waypoint in the map.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just wish I could see a little bit more of like the outline of what's going on around me, like even just like the the corridors or whatever else. But I'm pleasantly enjoying it. Two of my best friends have been on me to play that game for a long time. And I'm having a good time with it. I'm surprised at how well it holds up, given, the game is like, 15, 16 years old now, the first one?
They fixed all the problems in the first one, let's just say that.
Yeah? Yeah,
like,
I've heard that.
they made the shooting work.
Oh, was it much worse before?
Yeah, it was like like sniper rifles didn't work in the original game.
Nice. That seems
And
like a
like
good thing.
the
Not to work.
Mako is not terrible. It's still a little weird, but it's not like awful.
Yeah, I had an issue where I flipped it and couldn't unflip it, so I had to reload my latest save. And I had a couple other weird glitches, like a time I got out of the Mako and then I couldn't select anything.
I had that happen too once. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was gonna like survey a mineral, and then I was like, this isn't working. Like the X button is broken.
Yeah. I couldn't get back in the Mako. I could pull up the menu, but I couldn't interact with anything. It was super weird. And then I had another issue where my reticle just disappeared, and every time I zoomed in on anything, it just literally zoomed the screen in. Like I couldn't see where I was shooting, and it was just kind of my best guess of where I thought the enemy was.
Cool.
A couple glitches there, but like outside of that, yeah, I'm having fun with it.
I mean, Mark, you played these already.
Yeah, I played them when they came out, 20 years ago, whatever.
But like you're enjoying it more now that they've remastered it.
Yeah, I'm like 20 hours in, or like 18, somewhere around there. I'm doing like a lot of the side stuff first, though, like because it makes the game easier. They sped up the level progression in this game like a ton. They have like an original mode where it's like level 1 to 60, but now they have like a new mode is like 1 to 30, and you get talent points like crazy. Like
yeah,
I'm I'm almost like near max in the talent points already.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how many. Like, I'd open up this menu after a mission or so, and it'd be like, "You have 6 new ones." I was like, "Oh my god!" It feels like I'm progressing quickly.
And then the characters like level up with you, even if you don't use them. So like if you don't use a character for a while, and you select them, it's like you go into their menu and it's like, oh, there's 36 skill points for you to spend. It's like, okay. How do you like the inventory system?
It's fine. Like
it's not too convincing there.
Yeah, I mean,
it uses like a numerical system. So you have like Avenger 1 as like an assault rifle, and then it goes like Avenger 2 is like the next level up.
Yeah,
to like level 10, but they don't really differentiate. Like they don't do a great job of telling you which is like the best assault rifle manufacturer. And then you have 6 characters to deal with, all with like their own different proficiencies, and then you don't have a ton of inventory space. You only have like 300 slots. So I'm like, all right, well, why can't there just be like an auto equip for each of these characters as well? And then you have like weapon mods and grenade mods, and it's like, this is getting nuts. Like
there's a lot going on, especially when like I feel like you get those weapon mods and the guns like candy. Like I swear you just open up and it's like, here's 4 new weapons, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. And then it's just really overwhelming. Like Mass Effect 2 and 3 really stripped that system out pretty much to nothing. I mean, you get like new weapons, like you maybe get like 1 new mission, and that's about it. But this game, it's like too overwhelming at a certain point. Because weapon mods, I have not used any weapon mods because it's like I only have like rank 8 guns. Why am I going to waste a mod on this piece of crap?
Yeah, I found the galactic map pretty overwhelming at first as well, and I was just kind of like, am I just supposed to go to random areas and just click on every planet and see which ones I can interact with, which ones I can land on? Because that's all I've been doing for a good chunk of it. That's
pretty much it. Mass Effect 2 and 3 introduced some really dumb systems with that, like fuel. So you can't you can't go anywhere. And then like Mass Effect 3, you have like to deal with like Reaper invasions. So like you'll go into a system and like an enemy ship will start flying to you, and it's like if they reach you, game over.
But good. That sounds fun.
If you just exit the system and then go back in, then it's gone. So it's like really stupid. But yeah, I played these games way back in the day. I played Mass Effect 1 only once. I played Mass Effect 2 like 2 or 3 different times, and the same with Mass Effect 3. So yeah, I kind of know where some stuff is, but a lot of this is still kind of new to me, or I just forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like a lot of they took out the motion blur, which annoys me because that was one of the goofier parts of Mass Effect 1. Like that whole opening shot when you're like the camera's in the ship, like going around people is like, it used to be so blur intensive back in the day, but now it's just gone. But yeah, that game still holds up really well. And like like I said, the shooting's actually really good now. Like if you aim at a head, and you get a headshot, it will put down an enemy really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the shooting feels good. It feels tight, and I do like how much variation there is between the gun types. Like a good few of them do actually feel quite a bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also find that game doesn't really explain a lot. Like even with the different kinds of weapon features that you have, you're kind of left guessing as to what each one of them actually does.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, outside of a couple of learning curve gripes, I'm having a good time with it too.
Wait till you hit Mass Effect 2.
I've heard it's like a big jump forward in terms of quality.
That, but also they throw like a lot of different weird weapons at you, like beam weapons or like missile launchers and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, cool.
All right, I'll try them out.
All right, I mean, that's good that y'all are enjoying that, and you got a long way to go to get to Mass Effect 2 and 3, and then you'll have to, I guess, let everybody know how you feel about that ending. Do you agree with that?
This game has some insane trophies, like beat all 3 games on like insane difficulty. And it's like, I'm not going to do that.
No thanks.
Have fun with the platinum on that.
Yeah.
Folks. Well, Randy and Matt have both been playing another game up. Maybe you're shooting in a different manner, shooting pictures of Pokemon. Like, Carl didn't get to talk about this last week, but you guys playing new Pokemon Snap. Did y'all both play the original? How do y'all feel about it, Matt? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I did play a bunch of the original as a kid, so I was super, super excited when this got announced. I love it. It's not doing a lot more than just being Pokemon Snap HD. They throw in some more maps. They kind of throw in some different interactions, but that's all I really wanted out of it, given how long it's been since, the first one. I do like how much the levels change between, the research points as you level up. The interactions change day to night. A lot changes. So it's just a really relaxing, chill game, and just, ride this little slow roller coaster, try and figure out what's the best way to get the pictures. I'm loving it. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. So for me, this is something I've been waiting for a long time. I mean, Randy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm very, very early on. We just bought it yesterday and kind of played it as a family last night. We kind of each took a turn at the map.
Nice.
And saw who would get the better pictures and stuff. But I'm 100% agreeing with you. It's a very chill game.
What time you finish?
I'll mute Sean there real quick. Yeah, very, very chill. I'm still in the first area, so I haven't really even gotten to the stuff where you start interacting with stuff. But we did see what you were talking about, how once you level up your research points, that the whole map changes just slightly, and different Pokemon will change up. I have a 4-year-old, so we're having a lot of fun with her, trying to point out different Pokemon and stuff. And she had a lot of fun as I took a picture of Pichu from behind. And it got a lot of points, and nobody's been able to beat my Pokemon butt picture is what we ended up calling it that night. But that's
just adorable.
So much fun that we're having with it. It's such a perfect family game. It's not one of those I'm going to sit there and play hours and hours on at once, but it's one of those, I got a half hour. I need to entertain my kids to do something here. Let's all get another run and try to go on. It's one of those where I might not even unlock the last map until like 4 or 5 months from now.
I felt like that about Returnal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I usually play through games pretty quickly. Like once I get going, I don't usually stop. New Pokemon Snap, I've been, playing maybe half an hour to an hour every couple of days, just kind of digesting it slowly, and just, I feel like rushing it just kind of takes away from what that game is trying to sell.
Right.
And, taking your time with it, I feel is the right way to go with that. And your 4-year-old sounds adorable. I mean, long live the Pichu butt picture. So
right, absolutely. And again, like you said, it's perfect to do it in small chunks, because then you kind of realize things are a little different in the maps, but you're not playing it so much where you're like have it so dialed down. We're still to the point where we're like all zoomed in. It's like, oh, there's a Pokemon over here. Turn the camera.
Yeah.
So it's a very adorable game.
Yep. As we meander, wait till Sean gets back.
There he is.
Sorry. The girlfriend was like, I need to sleep. I was like, well, come get your pillow or whatever. I didn't want to be showing her in the middle of my talking. So, So moving. I haven't played anything. I just got a code for Aerial Knight, Never Yield. Aerial Knight
Nice.
Never Yield, which I got a review for Outer Haven. First review I'm doing for them, so got to get going on that tomorrow. So I'll be excited to play. He was on the Gaming Morning Show talking about the game. I know he's excited for that game to come out already. Yeah, Neil's been doing a lot of work on that game, and it looked amazing at that Nintendo Direct. And I was like, man, I got to play this. I gotta do some coverage for this game. It looks great. So I'm excited to get into that tomorrow. But moving on from I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think we do need to talk about it because it was a major thing happening, and it's a major thing that's going on. I just want to say, as all of us that are, we review games, we're content creators, we're writers, whatever. A lot of solidarity to the people at IGN and GameSpot and Game Informer that are standing up for what's going on in Israel and Palestine and having to fight corporations to be able to support a just cause. And, it may not be what everybody wants, but I feel like they're doing the right thing. And if you haven't watched that video from Timur from GameSpot, he did a fantastic video that really hits on why that's important and why, you should care about it. And really why there's it's not a side, we're talking about humanity here. So I think I just after watching that I was like, man, I gotta go watch some stuff and learn. I feel like I'm not, because our whole where we come from. I mean, if you were Christian at all, you grow up with the one side of the issue. You don't ever get to learn about the other side. You're taught the same thing that a lot of people are taught over there, and it's not just Palestinians. It's that whole West Bank area is getting hurt. There's kids from Jerusalem that are also kids are dying. I mean, kids are dying here. So I just can't believe the corporations, because some company that decided to take IGN's name and call it IGN Israel threw a fit. We got to take down something that really meant something to all these the editorial staff and the writers. And I think that's great that they were able to kind of fight them a little bit with that Medium piece, which you should go check out. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that or whatever, Matt. I mean.
Yeah, I've been following it quite closely, and it was actually Timur's video that kind of inspired me to also go down the rabbit hole and learn more about it. Vox has a great article and a pretty great video as well to kind of, if you don't know too much about it, it's a good way to learn. But I pretty much agree with everything that you said, Sean. This is about humanity. It's about life, and it's always been painted one way in the media, so it's easy to kind of believe one thing without ever even trying to consider the other. But the way that IGN is handling it and the way that they stood up, and it's not even just writers and part of the editorial staff. There's production people on it. There's video editors. There's a lot. There's over 70 employees that went and signed that letter.
Yeah, they're not the front-facing people that you see.
Exactly.
So they matter just as much.
Yeah, and to put your name down, especially after seeing what happened at Kotaku not too long ago, I hope that things work out the best for them, because what they're doing is the right thing, and hopefully their corporate overlords don't shit can them for it, because they don't
I think
deserve
the
it.
corporate overloads know that they lose too much of that staff, that site goes down
Yeah,
in quality by a ton.
Yeah, very quickly.
And GameStop, I mean, come on. Really, what kind of corporation are you at this point? You lose more people in your corporation than you actually retain. So if you wouldn't have had the stock thing, nobody would be talking about you at all at this point. So
yeah.
But I don't know if Randy or Mark, y'all want to say anything.
No, honestly, I didn't even, because I don't check Twitter as much as I should for doing what we do. But I didn't even know the IGN stuff happened until I watched Kind of Funny Daily this afternoon. So I'm still way behind on this kind of stuff. But I think, Sean, you put it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blessing and Tim talked about it. They did a good job on the Kind of Funny Games. Then they had Tamura on as well. So definitely, if you didn't watch this video, go watch the Kind of Funny Games daily or listen to it on podcasts, and he gets to have his piece to say there. And he says a lot that's like really powerful to hear that side.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Greg also put out a thread with a bunch of like different organizations you can donate to and a bunch of different content you can consume, different videos, different articles. So if you're curious, there's a great thread on his Twitter.
Definitely. It's rough to move from something like that to just talking about gaming news in general, but kind of have to do that here. And this isn't something I think new. I think if you think about it hard enough, you understand that a company is not going to spend $7.5 billion to be sharing big games with other big companies that they are also in competition with. So hearing from Jeff Grubb at GamesBeat to say that Starfield is going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC, it's going to show up on PS5 at some point, and it's actually delayed till 2020. Well, people thought it was about 2021. It never actually had a release date. It's now officially 2022. Like, we're not talking about Xbox's E3 until next week, but do you feel like this is that first? Aside from, obviously, Halo is a big deal, right? But we know what Halo is.
It is.
I'm just saying. Wow, how Halo performs.
It used to be a big deal, let's say that.
I think it could still come out and be a big deal if it comes out and is good, and that's what matters. But there's still a lot we don't know about Starfield. Like,
have we seen anything from that game?
No,
The logo,
nothing, right? Yeah.
No, it's just the nameplate.
Yeah.
When they were trying to hide that Fallout 76 existed, hey, Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6 coming out like never, but here, you know. At least we know Starfield's coming at some point. I think that's cool. Like, if it winds up being Fallout, Elder Scrolls, but in space, that's cool. We don't have, Mass Effect, right? But like, we don't have a lot of
Outer Wilds.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. I think they mentioned that Starfield's gonna have multiplayer, and that kind of turns me off like right from the get go, because their online systems have not been great.
Hopefully, with that Microsoft money, they'll be able to put a decent system in.
To have
having all the
from the
Microsoft
start.
studios to work with that do no multiplayer.
With time in multiplayer, it's like, well, I guess I'm going by like Fallout 76, but like that was not a great launch or a great experience.
They've improved it a lot, though. They have really worked hard to improve that game.
Like by adding content?
By also improving the content that they did have and then adding things to it that wasn't there.
You're mistaken. They had no content in the beginning. That was the issue.
It's true, too.
Do you guys think if Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda that Starfield would already be out and be broken?
No.
I don't, because Cyberpunk made it to where you don't want to release a broken game anymore.
I don't know. That's Bethesda's calling card.
I think if COVID wasn't a thing, I think we might have seen Starfield already. I feel like that. Yeah,
we probably see like trailers, but I don't think it would have been like out or anything like that. Let's say that.
Yeah, if at least it would have been imminent. Broken probably, as Bethesda likes to do, but I don't know. I have a bad feeling, and I can't tell you why, but there's something telling me that game isn't going to be what people are expecting out of it. I hope I'm wrong.
Oh, but you mean because like the last 4 or 5 Bethesda games haven't been great either?
Yeah, it just seems that they kind of, at least they're, the last couple of games, they released something that doesn't seem to kind of fit the pedigree of what Bethesda should be in this day and age. Like coming up, Fallout, was it 4 coming up against something like The Witcher 3 at the same time? It kind of feels like, it was kind of outclassed pretty quickly.
Right.
So I'm hoping the Starfield is kind of, a reason to turn around, because if it isn't, then it's just going to be another narrative that, Xbox is dead again. Halo's going to be bad. Starfield is bad. Like that ball keeps kind of rolling with, the more hits they keep taking. Game Pass is fantastic, but you need exclusives to help push that, I think.
Yeah, you do. And like I this narrative of exclusives are dead. They're bad for the industry. We can't have exclusives. Like, until there are no longer consoles, there will be exclusives. Because why? Maybe they're not the top selling game. The third party games usually wind up taking those crowns, right? But when you think about the systems, what do you think about? The exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you think about The Last of Us and Spider-Mans and Uncharted's, and I notice I'm not mentioning Xboxes in any of this because, I mean, how many – look, I love Gears. I love Halo. I grew up on those games. I don't have a problem. I mean, Forza's a great game. Yeah, just –
That's kind of like the one good franchise right now, though, I think, because it's kind of depressing.
Gears has been good, too. Well, Ori's not their franchise, though.
Yeah,
no,
but
Ori is now.
It's still exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, but they pump out a Gears game every year, it's like 4 years.
Right, but I mean, you shouldn't be pumping them out every year. They're a big franchise. You should let them rest, and I do agree with Randy in that we saw what Microsoft did, right, with Halo, where they had to because of the way it looked. But they decided we can go a whole year without having Halo. I wonder if they go, well, we already have Halo coming. We already have all these other games coming this year. We don't need Starfield. You guys can take more time and have it come out next year.
I actually think with Microsoft, if Halo comes out, holiday season this year, that they could come in at E3 this year. I mean, we'll talk about it. You guys will talk about Xbox next week, but they can come into E3 here next month and going, everyone was talking a couple years ago about the year of Sony with God of War and Spider-Man, and I forget what else was all coming out that year, where there was like big banger each quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to have Halo in the winter. We'll have Starfield here. We'll have this exclusive in the summer. We'll have this one in the fall.
They got Psychonauts 2 coming soon. Yeah. I mean, that's not a huge game, but
Psychonauts 2 is multi-platform.
Right, but it's still going to be on Game Pass. You got to pay $60 for it on PS5 or PS4 or whatever. So it still makes a difference.
Do you guys think Halo is actually launching this year?
No,
because I don't think it is.
It'll launch when that TV show comes out, which is 2 years from now.
It depends on how much they have to work on. If it was just a graphical upgrades, then I think it does. If
when they did the demo, they didn't have all of the new systems that they put in place for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they tried to make it an open world game at first,
mm-hmm.
and then they realized,
this doesn't work.
Not necessarily going to work for Halo, so they had to kind of put it back down, and they hadn't been able to take all those systems out that they had put in, and so it kind of came out looking like, I mean, they wasn't really well optimized and all that stuff either.
It'll be interesting. And also, again, I mean, we've said it multiple times, but COVID's going to change any game plan. I mean, obviously, Sony was very excited that God of War would be this year. I would bet money it won't be, because of COVID and everything getting pushed back. Yeah. And if it does get pushed back, obviously people on Twitter and the internet will make fun of Microsoft for it. Any game that gets pushed back in the next year or two, I can't blame them at all.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be surprised if Horizon gets pushed back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it would really hurt their fall season, because after Ratchet, they don't really have anything, So, that's the thing is, that's going to be interesting what happens with that. And Matt, you're not wrong. Like, maybe Halo doesn't come out. So, I mean, I want it to come out as a big Halo fan. I want to be able to play it and take that memory of Halo 5's terrible story mode out of my head. Like, I hope this story mode's good, but that's what I come to Halo for. I'm not a big multiplayer. Like, I played multiplayer when I was a kid. We had the LAN parties and all that stuff, summer parties playing Halo. But as I got older, the multiplayer stuff didn't necessarily appeal that much to me. Like, it was more about the loving the single player stuff in Halo. Obviously, once Bungie was not around, it kind of declined. But still, I mean, you have to love when you love a series, you even love the warts sometimes.
For better or for worse, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, that's cool because that was the one game I think out of the upcoming Bethesda, slate besides Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop that we know are PlayStation exclusives. Times. That was the one that was like, is this finally going to be the first one that's going to make use of that deal? And now you finally got the confirmation. So that's good on that for Microsoft's end. And it will be interesting when we talk about it next week. Like, they said that there's a lot of these 2021 games. Now, granted, I don't think they're all going to be AAA bangers. We're talking about smaller indie stuff, but that's why Game Pass is great, right? You can try that stuff out and decide whether you like it or not. So, going on from Microsoft, we probably won't talk very much more about them on the show. This is a very much more Sony leaning show, especially with our main topic. But we don't talk much about Stadia here because it's not something that I've tried it. I've tried it. Technology's fine. It's just they have slowly been just. It's basically like they're like delaying the inevitable, and now Google is trying to come out and say that we're fine. There's something wrong with Stadia. Well, there's over 100 new games launching on Stadia in 2021, and we're going to keep making Stadia a great place. That's cool. But I think the fact that you have like nothing, that it's just a store that you don't have to have a console for, I don't know. I just still feel weary about that lasting very long, especially with Google, the way they are about
it worked well for GameTap.
That's a totally different time. It's sure. Matt, like, I don't know. Have you gone into any like xCloud or Luna or any of that stuff?
I've played around with xCloud because that was the only one that was readily available in Korea, and like it worked fine. I don't know. I feel like the people that love Stadia really love Stadia, and everybody else is just kind of watching from the outside, like, okay, like it's kind of hard to kind of pitch that. I feel like Google keeps taking kind of like this one step forward, two steps back approach. Like, they lost how many developers, and they lost Jade Raymond over the course of the last year. But then I just saw on Twitter, actually, right before we recorded, they just got a new social marketing manager that used to work for Pokemon, and they just hired them on. So it's like, they're doing something, but then they do other shit that makes it look bad. And it's just kind of like, what in actuality is this going to be? Is it, like you said, is it just a third-party store where you can pick up a game and play it anywhere? Or are we going to see anything of value? Like we just said, the exclusives, there's nothing there. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be. So, like, I understand the appeal, but I don't feel like it's enough for anybody to kind of jump ship off of wherever they're playing to be like, I'm a Stadia player now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with me is I already have xCloud. And it's part of my like having Game Pass Ultimate, and I love it. Like, I love the fact that I can be anywhere on my phone, on a tablet, on the Chromebook, on my laptop now, and just put the browser in, and you got all those games you can play anywhere. I could be at work on my break at work, take my controller with me, play 15 minutes of a game. I mean, that's freaking amazing to me, Like, it's cool, but like I'm glad that it's part of another service. It's not something I'm just exclusively paying for. Because that's the thing with, like, I tried out Luna, and then it accidentally charged me the $7. And I've liked playing E8 on it or whatever, but it's like, because it was in its own thing, and I would have to turn my computer on and have to actually see it. Like on Xbox, I feel like I'm seeing it all the time because whether I'm on my console, on my phone, on my whatever, I'm constantly seeing what's being put out. On the other two, I don't ever know what's on Stadia. I don't ever know what's on Luna, but Microsoft tells you all the time, this is what's coming to Game Pass, and you know, and that's another thing too. It's like, I don't care what y'all are saying. The marketing tells me something different. It feels like you're not really, doing a whole lot with this because, yeah, of course, bad news will sell more clicks and everything. But it feels like it's just a string of bad news, and it's never great when that's what comes out of it. Going from one store to another, this would be cool if it actually happened. Do you think we would ever? I mean, this is weird because it's Gabe Newell talking about it, right? Like, Steam coming to a console? Like, really? Would this happen? Mark, you're the Steam guy.
Well, they already tried with PS3.
Right, but I mean, do you think that this could happen? Like, is Gabe just trying to make all the money he can at this point, or what do you think this is?
I could see it coming to maybe the Xbox with how they're screwy the system is. They could use the games. It won't happen for PS5. I can tell you that.
You don't think Gabe would back up the truck and Sony would meet him in the middle, but like, okay, how much we got to pay?
No.
No.
Well, they like having a more closed system, also.
Right. Yeah.
You got to be like browbeaten, having like cross-platform multiplayer. So,
I mean, technically, with that browser on your Xbox, you can already do like NVIDIA, or you could for a while, I think, until they blocked it. So, I mean, the technology is kind of already there for you to do it on Xbox if you want to.
The question I have about this is what's going to happen with Valve's Steambox initiative.
We know what happened with that. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I know what you already have your laptop, your PC to play this on, but like, let's say Microsoft did do this. Do you think it makes an Xbox more attractive? You could take your Steam games, I guess, and play it on your console?
I imagine a lot of PC games would not transfer well to a console. They've tried before. It's not gone well. I mean, if you plug in like a keyboard and mouse, maybe, sure.
Well, they have that ability too. So, Mark or Matt, I mean, are you do you do a lot with PC gaming or?
Not really. I do think Mark's spot on though. I do think if Steam comes to consoles, it will be on Microsoft. I can't see a world that PlayStation opens up the doors, especially given how they've had to be dragged kicking and screaming into any sort of crossplay. But I think my problem is that it opens up to a lot of problems with optimization, and then it's going to be like, okay, I have this game on Steam on my PC, but I can't play this game on Steam on my Xbox. I'd be curious to see the implementation of it when and if it happens, because I feel like there would be a lot of asterisks. I don't think it would be as simple as Steam on console. Yeah,
no, I definitely think there's going to be certain games, just like there's certain sections of Game Pass only work in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like that. I don't know. You'd get your full library of Steam all of a sudden working on a console.
Yeah,
never. That would never happen.
Even if you're just basically streaming from your PC or something, it's just. I don't think.
Well, even like Family Share doesn't have every game. You can't like do that. So, or even like Big Picture Mode doesn't do that either. So.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying I think it'd be like more like a GeForce Now, where these companies would start coming for their licenses.
Yeah.
And they'd start saying, we didn't agree to that. You got to pay us more money if you want to do that. Which I don't blame them. They have the right to do that. This is one that I meant to talk about last week. I forgot to put it in, but I'm glad we didn't talk about it last week because we could talk about it this week, and we had that show that he ran on last week. Of course, this got blown out. I feel like way out of proportion when it first got revealed because there was a lot of stuff tied to Ubisoft announcing that they were going to do a free-to-play division, and then also kind of announcing in their earnings call that they were going to go away from the 3 to 4 AAA game model and kind of adapt more of free-to-play. What do you feel you know, how do you feel about this? Like, Matt, like I don't know how much you play of Ubisoft games.
Yeah,
but do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea for Ubisoft?
I think I'm on a wait and see. I think they're seeing that Genshin Impact money. I think they're seeing that Fortnite money, and they're looking for a way to kind of capitalize in on that market. I don't know how many of their, like, I think the Division makes sense. I think Ghost Recon could make sense to an extent. And I mean, Assassin's Creed is already so microtransaction heavy that, like, start adding in timers for crafting and stuff. And I mean, it can make a pretty easy switch over to free to play, I think. If it gives the bigger AAA games more room to breathe, if they have more time to spend on development and more time to, polish out their stuff, then I don't really have a problem with them putting out more free-to-play stuff. But given how Ubisoft handles a lot of their microtransactions, my hopes aren't high. Like, I think it's cool because, more people can get in, more people can play the games. But I think I want to see what the first one looks like and see how bad the microtransactions are. If they're mostly cosmetic, if they're mostly different ways that you can make your character look cool, then I have no problem with it whatsoever. But I have a feeling, and we could see a pay-to-win model pretty quick.
Mark, I mean, you play the Division.
Yeah, I think that going free to play would be fine because no one cares about the game to begin with. And it would probably
they cared about the game when it came out. Come on, don't say they.
Yeah, but for like a few months, and then they burn through. It's like every online game. They burn through all the content, and then it's like, okay, I'm done. Time to move on to something new. My problem with the Division is I like the story, or I like that part of it, and I doubt this thing's gonna have a ton of that. From what I gather, it's gonna be like just some big, mosh pit of gunplay, and that's about it. So that turns me off almost like immediately.
I mean, I guess they could, tie that in with like battle passes or DLC or whatever, and they're gonna nickel and dime you.
Yeah.
With that, like we see with so many other.
I think about like something like Plants vs Zombies 2 or 3. How EA ruined that, like it going to free to play. So then Ubisoft pivoting to that model is like, I'm good. I'd rather just buy your good games and don't have to deal with this BS.
I would agree, but I'd say also that like they kind of know a little bit about this. I mean, they do this with Rainbow Six, right? They did it with For Honor.
Yeah, but again, those are games that no one cared about until they went free to play.
Right, but that's what they want. Right? Like
and also,
what Matt was saying,
they aren't ruining already good franchises. If they want to make Rainbow, they're still pumping out, I think they still have like another Rainbow Six game in development.
The Quarantine one.
Yeah.
Which they really need to change that name. Though.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. But
it'll be called Containment.
Randy, do you feel like there's a game? I feel like Assassin's Creed just can't go that route, right? I feel like there's too much there with what they do with Assassin's Creed that's about that adventure and about going into.
Oh, they tried a few years ago, or they had the multiplayer modes.
Yeah, the multiplayer modes. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like Assassin's Creed the one that they won't touch that way. But like, where else do you feel like they can turn this into a free to play thing?
Honestly, like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, I think are the two that they wouldn't really turn into free to play. But everything else, I think, would be fair
like Watch Dogs. I think
Watch Dogs could definitely go free to play. That Riders Republic is built for free to play. Obviously, they have Riders Republic, so we probably won't see another Trials game for a while. But that's perfect for free to play. Their Just Dance series would make billions of dollars if they did a free to play market, and then just did it with the songs on top of it. They have plenty of series. You know what? If we can get a free to play, and then that's how we get Splinter Cell to come back, then I don't care. Let's go.
If that's what this is all leading to, then it's it's a positive, right? Like you get Splinter Cell back. So I don't know. I feel like this isn't a bad thing. I do understand people's trepidation with this, right? Of people, there are a lot of people that enjoy those Ubisoft games. I really enjoyed Immortals. I'd hate to see a game like that not get made because now we're just all focusing on free to play and then our 2 franchises or whatever 3 franchises. Like, is Beyond Good and Evil just never gonna come out now because we're doing this?
I was
like,
still winning that bet. I forget what our bet was. It was Beyond Good and Evil 2 versus something else, and I guarantee whatever. What was it?
Wild game, yeah.
I don't remember what that is.
And now
Beyond Good and 2
Bones.
is definitely not coming out. It might have been Skull. I don't remember what it was.
No, I mean it was Wild versus Beyond Good and Evil 2, but now it's also versus Skull and Bones because it's perpetually delayed.
That game, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just trying to develop that model, see if it works with the division, and then they'll come out with Skull and Bones. I don't know, but that game I feel like it's just perpetually in this cycle of, oh hey, it still exists. Oh, but it got delayed another year. Oh hey, okay, well.
That game was due out 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was. I don't know, but I feel like this. Let's wait and see on this. It's always easier for them to go, oh, let's calm the waters, and then you start seeing it happen, and then a lot of their stuff does go free to play. So it'll be interesting to see what Ubisoft winds up doing. But I don't blame them in a way because they're also seeing like Call of Duty with Warzone. They see EA with their Ultimate Team stuff and all that. Like, oh, we can make a piece of that pie too. Why not? And hey, you got to keep making that money, or you can't make games as well. So games aren't free; they're super expensive. So that's something that you have to keep in mind as well when it goes to that. So Sony comes out with controllers. What are you buying? This red one, it has me like wanting to hit that pre-order button. I'm in temptation constantly. Do I buy this red DualSense controller or not? It looks sexy, guys. I don't know about y'all, but man, I really like that one. Are y'all more with the black one? I mean, which one are y'all going with?
Yeah, personally, I'm all over the Midnight Black. I saw that and I was like, damn, that looks clean. I like that one a lot. The red one looks really good too. I wish it was kind of like a brighter red, but the black is what I'm all about right now. The Midnight Black looks dope.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. Give me the black one.
I like the red one, but
good. I'm not the only one.
I mean, they need to start releasing those console shells also to match it up.
Oh, the plates.
Yeah.
I think that'll come with when they release that. Is anybody care about that redesign thing for the PS5? I mean,
no.
Matt, do you have a PS? You have so we all have PS5s here. So,
yeah.
Anybody? I think it looks cool, but will I actually use it? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm on a wait and see. I want to see what it looks like first.
Yeah, let's see what happens when they come out with these special editions.
Yeah,
consoles, which they will at some point. So I mean, but I love that they've come out with these controllers. That's cool for Sony to do that. I don't think that they'll ever do like the Microsoft thing where they have a whole where you can customize and do whatever. But you keep doing stuff like this, that's fine too.
There's already a company that can do that for you if you want it.
That's true. Okay, guys. So let's get into our 2 main topics here and kind of blend in as well the fact that so we've all had the 3 of us. Matt, have you ever had your time with PSVR? Or?
Yes. Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
Huge supporter. I love that thing.
Oh, so you're the one.
Yeah.
I liked PSVR as well. I didn't have the setup for that thing.
I didn't have the room, and the tracking was terrible on mine.
Oh, believe me, I've smoked the ceiling a few times. I used to play in the basement a lot, and the ceilings are quite low, and I've left my fair share of black streaks across the top of the ceiling.
I mean, I loved playing Astrobot on that thing, and Moss, and Farpoint, and there's some other games that I got to play before I ended up giving it away, but PSVR 2 though, I just like the fact that we're not having to use those wands. They have these cool looking controllers with your hand. I mean, yeah, they're like the Oculus, but they look more modern. right? They look like they should be in VR. Like, so with all these rumors now coming out about what like the specs are and everything, are you more excited with the PSVR 2? Do you expect that to be if let's say Sony did do a state of play, maybe it's not at E3 itself, maybe it's a week after, or whatever, or maybe during Summer Games Fest. Do you think PSVR 2 has a spot at all, or?
I don't know. The way that they've been handling any of the new PSVR stuff has been super weird. Like they kind of just, especially the information on the controllers and the release that they were working on it was just on like a random given day being like, hey guys, we're doing it. So like I kind of expect them to just drop a state of play with a couple days notice some point in fall. I don't know if we're going to see it before then, just because I think they're going to let a lot of the breathing room around E3 focus on what games they have coming up this fall. So I think once we start getting those games coming out, that's when they'll be like PSVR 2, I'd say probably tail end of next year. I think we're still a little ways out. For me, as long as, my like the padding around started to get really grainy, and now basically every time I take it on and take it off, it's just like left black marks all over the place. So as long as it's built a little bit better, it's, a little bit less cables and it looks a little better, and the tracking with the new controllers, fingers crossed, is going to be much better than with the wands, given that they're 10-year-old controllers now. Right. I'm in. Like I still use my PSVR often. Still all over Beat Saber. Super Hot is my go-to between that and Beat Saber. So I'm excited. If it looks better, runs easier, and just a little more easy to kind of put up and take down, I'm game. I can't wait.
Well, we already know it's going to connect with a single cord, so there's already going to be less than having a big box with cords everywhere and feeling like it's just overflowing every time you come out.
Yep.
And like, Randy, I know you didn't have a ton of time with the VR, but like, has any of the stuff that you see with the PSVR 2 enticed you at all to like give it another shot? Or?
Not quite yet, but I'm waiting to actually see it in action and what they're going to do with it, and if they're going to give it more love than they gave the first one. I think the PSVR got into the same slot as the PlayStation Vita. They hyped it at first and then just didn't care about it after a month or two. So I'm curious to see what it does and what it looks like and what kind of games go on it. Obviously, Resident Evil 7 and VR is the most ridiculous experience I've ever had.
Terrifying.
So I'm very, very curious to see what they do, but I'm still hesitant right now.
Mark, does any of this stuff?
I mean, if it works, it'd be cool. I mean, I already have a Quest, so I'm kind of set for VR as far as like Beat Saber or Super Hot VR is concerned. But I mean, it's a good entry level system as long as it's not. Well, I mean, I guess the Quest is kind of cheaper also now, but depending on how cheap it is, it'd be good for like most people. But when PSVR came out, also like the PS4 is in people's homes. That's not really happened right now.
Yeah, I don't expect the PSVR to be coming out anytime soon. I mean, maybe it is scheduled to launch after 2021, but it's like they could push it further if they're really expecting these delays on the PS5 to be well into 2022. I don't think they need to really rushing this out, because you want the most PS5s out there as possible when you're wanting people to go buy this PSVR 2 as well. I mean, let's say the PSVR sold well for being a thing that people didn't necessarily, they didn't give too much attention to. And there were some really good games and still have had good games come out for it. I just want to see what's those first games to take advantage of the PSVR 2 and its power, and what that's going to look like. But the fact that it's going to look like the PS5, that's going to be great.
I'm really curious as to what SIE London is working on. Like Blood and Truth was great, and I really wonder if it really seems like PlayStation was kind of using PSVR as a test bed more than anything else, trying out the market and see how people respond. I would hope that, as you guys said, the support kind of trailed off. I'm hoping PSVR 2 is when they kind of come back swinging and, throw some massive support behind it. There was an interview with somebody from SIE London that was basically like, we're really excited about the next one. It seems like, it has a ton of potential. So I wonder if they're working on something that we'll see, launch game for PSVR 2. And if it's going to be something really special, then I think a lot of people could buy in, especially with, if it looks good, I think people might jump in a little more quickly than they did with the first PSVR.
Well, let's get into it. I mean, again, we don't know. Sony has not announced anything. I don't think that they would just surprise do a direct during E3. I think we would probably know something by now. I mean, granted, they could just in a week announce that they're doing something, but we know already that EA decided to do their thing way after E3 in July, so Sony could do the same thing as well. But let's, for giggles here, say that they were going to do something during that week. What do you think they would show? It's the same week that Ratchet comes out, so Ratchet is already not in the rearview mirror, but Ratchet will be out. So now you're fully focusing on what is coming out in the fall and beyond. What do you think is like some of their main focuses? And this kind of goes also into Herman Hurst said that there's 15 games being developed right now for PS5. I mean, we obviously know some of them and what some of them are probably going to be, but he did say many of them are new IP as well. So, like, also, like, think about, are there any genres or games that you'd want to see from Sony? And, could they show them off at an E3? Or you think it's going to be just all the known stuff? Like, what do you think will be shown? Matt?
I think they're pretty much going to stick to the known quantities this time around. Like, I mean, with Ratchet coming out, and I think the hype for Ratchet is pretty palpable. I think people are stoked. I think we're finally going to see some information about that PlayStation Plus revamp in some way, shape, or form. They already started testing that video thing in Poland, which looks like crap. It's like a handful of movies and TV shows that you have, guess what, part of your PlayStation Plus. I really hope that that's not the route that they're taking with it. I think they really need to start bundling PlayStation Now and Plus together in a way that Microsoft's already doing. And I hope that's what we see coming, because I think PlayStation Now as a service seems to be in a much better place technically than it was when it started, but I just don't think people know that. Outside of something about Plus, I think with all the, air out of the room being taken out by Game Pass, and I feel like every couple of days you're hearing about how cool Game Pass is and, how it's a great deal. I think PlayStation needs to start doing something to kind of combat that narrative. Like only people always say like Plus sucks, or sorry, not Plus sucks, but Now sucks. Game Pass is so much better. I think they need to do something. I'm just curious as to what that's going to look like.
I don't know that Now sucks. It's just people don't know about Now because they just tell you those 3 games that get added and that's it. They never talk about it again. So people just assume that it's never changed from the time that it's, when it first came out. And yes, technically there are a lot of games that you still are stream only, but even that stream technology has gotten better. Because when Randy was doing remote play from PS4 to Vita or to something else, if you weren't using a LAN connection, it probably sucked. Like, I can have my PS5 probably like 10 miles down the road and be here, and it works fine. Yeah, remote play. So, like, their technology has improved a lot. And now, they have that deal with Microsoft as well with the Azure. So, like, I feel like this is I agree with you, Matt. This is the time. Like, maybe you don't have a Game Pass killer yet, but you start rolling the ball. Yeah. Like, this is what we're going to promise you. We know what Microsoft's been doing. We're listening. That, just like y'all did with the PS3 store and all that other stuff, y'all changed. Listen, I mean, we know you're not going to give your first party games away. We know that already. We know you're already spending a bunch of money with third parties. They're not going to do what Microsoft does and spend money to put these games on the service, like whatever. But if you just make your service more available, and a little bit less pricey, that helps too.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about time. They need to start just getting part of the conversation in a way that isn't just what are they doing. And I'm hoping, my worst case scenario is they come in and be like, guess what? You have video part of it now, and they leave it there. I would hope they're smarter than that. But, there's a track record for PlayStation getting a bit of an ego once it starts doing better and better. And I hope we're not seeing that happening again. like we did in the PlayStation 3 era. But other than that, I think, we're probably going to see Gran Turismo again. It's been a little while since we've seen it.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably do a Horizon blowout, show us more of Forbidden Wilds?
Forbidden West.
Forbidden
Close.
West, thank you. Close. Forbidden West, I think we'll see probably some gameplay. I do think that's coming out this fall. And I think that that rumored The Last of Us remake, I think we'll probably see that as well. And I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to bundle that together with what was supposed to be The Last of Us 2 multiplayer. I think those two are going to kind of come hand in hand together as to give people a reason to buy into the remake in whatever way, shape, or form it exists. But I think that's kind of the big stuff that we'll see. I don't know. What do you guys think about God of War? I'm really split as to whether we'll see it or not, or if they're going to kind of focus on what's coming this year and then drop God of War kind of at the Game Awards, that kind of December-ish thing, that's when they'll start building hype for it. But what do you guys think?
They could do that. Yeah, they definitely could do the Game Awards as that, like one of the big showpieces of the Game Awards. But they also could do it as their one more thing if they did something like that. It just depends, right? Because if they want to do it like an E3, that's where you would do it. If you're doing it as like a Nintendo Direct, where it's like, okay, we're going from here to here. Well, then that's what we're going to show. Then okay, But it kind of depends on what they're really trying to do with this. But man, I feel like people are ready. People are ready to see something about God of War. I don't think it's coming out this year at all, and they're just not wanting to put that out there. They want to leave that like fish thing, the whole thing dangling there. But might as well announce it because it's not. Plus it'll take the whole wave out of the sales of Horizon again, which you already had that problem the first time. You don't need to do it again. Like don't do that to them. Randy, I mean you're the PlayStation guy here. Like, what do you think?
Them not being part of E3 kind of messes with a lot of my predictions because I completely agree. Like, if this was during E3, you're going to get all those crazy hype moments because they want to win the whole week. And the last couple of years that they had it where they were announcing Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 2 Remake and all of their stuff with Last of Us Part 2 where they would sneak things in there here and there, or Final Fantasy 7 Remake when they threw it in there. So trying to come up with what we could see without having those big moments because it's not E3's tough. But I do think we see a new Spyro game. The trilogy, I think, went really well. Obviously, Toys for Bob did a fantastic job with the new Crash.
But who's working on that?
That's the thing. Is no one's going to work on it anymore.
Toys for Bob.
No, they're Call of Duty studio now.
No, they will still do Spyro. They were working on Spyro. I'm just sticking with it. I don't care if it's right or not. It's like, listen,
it'll be another Skylander.
I follow a lot of
game.
sports fans that suck, and I try to trick myself into thinking they're going to be good the next year. So I'm going to have fun with this because again, it's with them not being part of E3, it's going to be really interesting. And then take it another step forward. I mean, you guys are talking about that one last thing and showing off God of War. I think that one last thing is going to be teasing the next Naughty Dog game. I think they're going to obviously let Last of Us breathe for a little bit. We're not going to get right into part 3 of The Last of Us. I think they are done with
Even
Uncharted.
though they're already working on the story for Last of Us Part 3. Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, but it's going to be many years till we see that. And I think they're a big enough studio now that they can work on multiple projects and kind of work on the story of part 3 while they're working on something else. I don't think it's going to be Uncharted, though I do think another studio will work on an Uncharted game at some point.
Yeah.
But I just think it'll be kind of like what we got for the tease of the very first Last of Us, where it's just going to be just this little bit and just that Naughty Dog logo at the beginning and then whatever they're working on. I think that's going to end it. Again, with COVID stuff, it's going to mess things up, but I could see them giving a release date for Final Fantasy 16. I would predict March of next year.
Yeah.
I think it's safe.
That's the one that we didn't. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 could definitely be a showpiece.
And the other one I put on there that I still think might hit this year, because again, if God of War gets pushed, I mean they're going to have Horizon and not much for the whole second half of the year. I guess you get Kena Bridge of Spirits in August.
Yeah.
But I think they bring out Ghostwire Tokyo with a release of 2021 still.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely going to see that. I mean, hopefully, look, I like Deathloop. I think we've seen a lot of Deathloop, though. I don't think we need to see it again.
When is that slated to come out now?
They
September?
moved it to September, October, something around there. Yeah, I think it is September.
Fact check. Yeah, it's September 14th.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know how much. Like, that's one game that I think they just put it on ice when it gets closer. When they reveal trailer, cool. Like, maybe something with like Little Devil Inside. We haven't seen much from them after that. Some of these other games that we saw at that showcase. I really think like we don't need to see any more Kena either. We've seen Kena in so many different places. Like,
Right.
Let's show some other stuff. So I do think that would be cool if they could really tell you that Naughty Dog is doing something else besides that Last of Us 1 remake that's obviously tying in with the TV show for HBO. I do agree with Matt that that's going to be the time for Horizon to really show us some gameplay, show us a lengthy chunk of it, and get people ready for that game and show them that it's ready, right? Show people that it's ready and gonna come out, because I think that's important too, that people understand that, hey, this is coming out this year and you're gonna see it. So
do you think Naughty Dog are working on that space game, that rumored one? Do you think that's what they're working on, or do you think they're doing something completely different?
I have no idea.
I'm sure they're just making Jack X Combat Racing HD.
Oh my God, please. There's nothing more that I want. Yeah, there's like heavy rumors that they're working on like some sort of space-based game, which I think would be interesting, especially coming up, if it were to come out around the same time as Starfield, or, within the same year. I think that would be an interesting conversation to have.
Doing a space game with their narrative, the way they do the narrative stuff, would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Depending on how they do that. Mark, I mean, like, any other surprise you think we could see? Or?
I could see them finally launching like a good emulation service for like the old games, because that's what people want.
Yeah.
It would be a good. We're sorry for almost shutting down the PlayStation 3 store and making everyone upset. So now here's how you can play all these games. So can we please shut down the store now?
And well, I think you do it better. Like, let's say, I mean, all of us probably have like a good PS3 or even older like library. Then going, okay, you put this game in, it adds to your digital library.
I don't think they're going to go that far.
I mean, they could. But
I think we're wishing too much there.
Or I mean, it would maybe not add, but it would add like a sale price to like the game on the digital storefront.
I would be happy with telling me that those games are available in your library if they were on your download list.
Yeah,
and like that's fine with me. Or like just the fact that they're there. Right, don't tell me I have to rebuy them again, Sony, because you're great at doing that. Like, don't tell me, And I really hope it's not this. Please God, don't be the PS2 remaster thing where y'all do like 10 of them and then stop doing them. Like, just get. I don't expect for them to do the entire library. Like, that's almost impossible. But like a good chunk.
Or their own games, they could certainly do it. Or they could
their own
like
games.
Capcom or, Square maybe. But
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you can do a good chunk of them where you could say, look, this is why we were planning on shutting down the store, because we had this plan. We were going to do this. Even if it's like bit by bit, like Microsoft did it, that would be okay too. Maybe your disc doesn't work, but they put them there on the store, and if I don't know. I mean, I don't know that Sony would go from not doing that for, these generations that have been, to all of a sudden doing that just because Microsoft's doing it. We still have Jim Ryan out there who doesn't believe in these old games.
Old game is old.
Yeah. And they're still trying to push you towards, doing all that. So I feel like we would have seen something like what Microsoft does with the FPS boost and all that to try to improve the old games by now if they really had an intention for that. I think they might do a make good so that they can close these stores down, but I don't think we're going to see this huge, vast thing. And if they do, I'd love to be wrong. Trust me, I would love to be wrong. But I don't think they'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
go ahead.
I was going to say Jumping Flash 3 for PSVR 2.
Let's do it. Is there any genre? I mean, like we saw some of these. They did that thing with Firewalk Studios where they're not going to have their multiplayer game, whatever. But is there a genre that you feel like, man, Sony really needs this kind of game, and it could be one of those 15 games, or do you feel like for sure one of these franchises that haven't been around for a while that maybe could be coming back? Or any thoughts?
It's definitely too early for it. It would be more of a E3 time 2022 push, but I want a full Astro game after playing Astro's Playroom.
Yeah, if they're going to tell me they're shutting down Sony Japan, you better be doing a full Astro.
Just give me a giant version of that game.
Oh, I love that game so much.
Yeah, I completely agree. The VR one and just the one that came bundled with the PS5. They don't really have a lot of platformers in terms of their, in their first party library. I mean, you could argue Uncharted has elements, but you don't really have anything that's a flat out platformer.
Yeah, Little Big Planet, and it's slow.
That's never been good.
Right, I agree.
I actually I've been playing a bunch of Sackboy, and I do find it fun. I think it kind of lifts a lot of good things out of Super Mario 3D World, and does it well enough.
My issue with Sackboy was I played it right after Astro, and
that'll do it.
Again, that's where I felt the speed of Sackboy or the lack thereof. I've gone back and I've been playing it with my son, and I do agree. Playing that multiplayer works way better than playing it single player.
Yes.
And it adds a lot to it. But yeah, I would love to see Sony hit the platform market as the platform guy on this podcast.
Man, there's so many. I'd love if they brought back Jay Cocoon or something. That's not gonna happen.
We didn't make that. Legend of Dragoon 2 would be pretty cool.
Legend of Dragoon. Yeah, I mean, but I don't think they'll.
I'll make the joke even though it won't work because Jens isn't here. But how about a Dark Cloud 3?
Yeah.
Right.
Level 5.
Well, that would mean Level 5 is doing console games again. They said they were not. They were taking a break from those for a while, at least in America, I guess, because they don't sell well enough here. But I mean, I would love to see a full Miles Morales game. For me, I love that. I love Miles Morales last year. Yep. It'd be great to. I know they probably did Spider-Man 2 first, and that's totally fine. I get it, but I would love as a Latino that loves seeing that, and I love Miles having his own moment. I want to see him have his full game, So that'd be cool if you got to do it.
Yeah, I hope they kind of intertwine both of them a lot more into Spider-Man 2. I hope Spider-Man 2 isn't like a, 75-25 split with, Parker taking the majority. I really hope that they kind of give them both a lot more to do in Spider-Man 2. I think they already have the infrastructure set up for Miles. I mean, why not use it? Right. I hope that's the case.
I could see either Bloodborne on PC or Bloodborne 2.
Man, I think that would make everybody go insane if one of those is Bloodborne 2, because they haven't even, up-res Bloodborne. They haven't made it like the 4K 60 whatever for Bloodborne yet. For all of a sudden you're going to do Bloodborne 2, I think that would be an absolute shock to everybody.
What's the game they're working on right now? It's Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
Elden Ring is. Yeah,
do we see that at all?
Yeah.
I think that might get shown on the Xbox one.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they do it on the Sony one, but I feel like Battlefield and Elden Ring are going to be.
Well, if they showed up like Elden Ring on Xbox, they could show off like Bloodborne 2 on Sony.
Do they have? two studios to work on.
Well, they've been pumping out,
Right.
yeah, because they made Dark Souls 3 when they were making Bloodborne. So
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough then.
There were those
Yeah.
rumors that there was a Bloodborne remaster coming that was going to hit PS5 and PC at the same time. I wonder if there's any credibility to those. Because I mean, I initially didn't believe it, but with these reports of The Last of Us being remastered, I don't think it's maybe that far out of the realm of possibility anymore.
plus they just added like a Sony studio page like Steam for all the two games that's on there. Days Gone and Horizon. So it's like, why would you have this page here if you only have two games?
I mean, does anybody think that Sony could do more with that PS Plus collection and add more games to it? Maybe with more all the, if you're gonna have such a backlog of the PS5s where there's gonna be so many people that can't get them still.
Mm-hmm. It'd be
Opening
cool
up that more, yeah.
It'd be cool to connect that with what Matt is wanting, where they can combine Plus and Now, and then they go, also, we're going to add X amount of games with that PlayStation Plus collection that they added for PS5. I think it'd be cool if they continued to extend that.
Yeah, I think it's just weird how they segment everything. Like that PlayStation Plus collection is such a nice buy-in for people who are on PS5. I just find it so strange that they had to kind of separate it out as being like a PS5 only PlayStation Plus thing. Like, I just kind of want them to unify, a little bit. As to whether they're going to add to it, I would love if they did, but I wouldn't expect anything remotely new coming to it. Like, I think we'd get like a handful of stuff. Like maybe Ghost of Tsushima, they add to it. Like maybe I wouldn't say anything newer than that, though. I think that would be kind of the line that they might draw, if they even go that far. Which I'd be shocked if they did. I don't think
we're gonna see any PS5 only titles get added onto that, or I think maybe Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost get added at some point. But none of the stuff that came out at launch for the PS5, I think, would.
No, I think you're right.
Be added on. I agree with you. I think if Sony doesn't. I don't know. I mean, they allowed remote play with their PS4 because they could have not done that, right? But and you can do, I guess, share play with it and all that stuff too. It is kind of weird when people were hacking it to be able to get it to work on their PS4. I guess because they're getting those games for free instead of buying them on there, even though most of them are on ridiculous sales at this point. Like, really? So, what are you losing for all these old games that are on there? Like, are people really buying Last Guardian anymore? It's like, like Randy said, Persona's on sale every 10 seconds. I mean, so, some of that is...
Especially because it's the base Persona 5. It's not even like you put Royal on there. I mean, like...
Exactly.
Why not? And again, like even just some weird exclusions, like Horizon one that wasn't on that list, but then they turn around and they bring it in to play at home. Like they just
give that away for like free.
Exactly. Yeah. With the play at home, like they keep separating out their initiatives in such a weird way that it's just kind of like, why not? Why confuse the narrative?
They should have went ahead and said, "Oh, when it goes off play at home, it's going to be part of the PS Plus collection."
Exactly. Or just Or like you said, make that PlayStation Plus collection available to people on PS4 as part of the play at home. Like, you know what? Like, there's so many ways that they could have done it. That's just like, but they're doing whatever they're gonna do.
No, I mean, I get it. I get it as an incentive to get a PS5, right? You get all these free games that maybe if you were an Xbox person or a Nintendo only person, and you're going, "Oh man, big shiny PS5 over here, I want that." It's an incentive to play all those games. Right, but if you add more to it, it's an even bigger incentive.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, how many people are buying Horizon? I mean, yes, you get it on PC now or whatever. But it's just like, it's the same reason why you put Days Gone on PC. It was at the point where it wasn't going to sell anymore, so you put it on PC. Like, some of these other games you have, you could do it too. But, that's on Sony. We'll see if they surprise with any of that kind of stuff. And Yeah, I think they finally redo that PS5 design, UI like Mark was predicting.
I really hate the UI of the PS5 now.
I'm like, hello, why can't I hold down the button to turn the PS5 on?
Oh my god! Every time still.
I've
We
gotten
all
used.
do that, right?
Yeah, 100%. I've gotten used to the PlayStation 5 UI minus like the store. The store is like having to go down and then back up to get back up to the search thing, or go into my collection to be able to go back up to get into the PlayStation Plus or the PlayStation Now games. Is I agreed. I think they should fix that a little bit.
I mean, I just miss like custom themes. Because like, why am I buying PS4 games that have a custom theme attached to it? It's like, what? Like, okay.
No, I agree. I love that. I loved having my Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff, and it played the song every time I turned the PS4 on. I mean, like, that was a highlight of the PS4. Like, anytime you bought like a big game, it usually came with a theme, and you could like.
I'm trying to remember what theme's actually still on my PS4. It's either the Final Fantasy one or the Resident Evil 3 one. I can't remember. I just whatever it was, it's loud. Whenever I turned it on, that theme was very loud.
I mean, it's like I think that's cool. Hopefully, they bring that in. I mean, I saw the Xbox put in the original Xbox theme behind there now, so which it gave me like so many memories as well. But that's cool. I hope that Sony does do something. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Jeff got it tangled into his Summer Games Fest or whatever as well, which there is supposed to be Summer Games Fest stuff sprinkled into E3. Just please don't make it 4 months long. That was such a pain in the ass last year. And especially from people covering, that was such a pain in the butt. Like after like the first week, I said, forget it. I'm not even bothering with it. Like,
I told you.
It was cool at first, then it was like, oh my god, it keeps going. It keeps going and going. And then like they're talking about every single game that has ever come out on that. I'm like, oh no, please. IGN, I get it. You're like, you partner with them and you get all this cool content, but good Lord, please stop. So hopefully it is a month, and at some point, hopefully Jeff can refine that into like a 2-week thing or something. But we'll see how that goes when we get to July. So we always end the show looking at games that are coming out within like the next week, and hey, we got some. And I know one that Mark is really excited about. Should be Got Me Tensei 3 Remaster is coming next week. You already got that pre-ordered? You're ready?
I haven't got it pre-ordered yet because like they don't have a good digital, they don't have a good deluxe version, which ticks me off. But I will try to get it. Let's say that.
Matt, are you going after that Shin Megami Tensei as well? Or?
As much as I love Persona, I've actually never tried any of the mainline SMT games. Mark, have you played 3 before? Do you recommend as a good jumping on point for classic SMT?
It's a little hard. Like the map is, let's just say, not great. But like a lot of the same concepts are the same. Like Persona 3 or 4, like elemental weaknesses, like talking with demons, like negotiating with them.
Mm-hmm.
The combat, like if you get a critical hit, you get like an extra turn. It has some like weird systems, like you ingest parasites, and that's like your kind of like your basic skills, but it works pretty well. Or I think it holds up, and the fighting Dante is pretty fun, and then you can recruit him.
Nice, yeah. Maybe I'll check it out then. I've heard good things, but I've never actually tried it.
Well, I mean, the other ones are on 3DS or whatever, the old, after 3. So that's a little bit harder to come by. I'm surprised that Nintendo didn't try to remaster them or whatever if they're going to do 3, hopefully they'll do 4 for Switch as well. I mean, obviously they're still working on 5. But it would be nice to be able to have that whole collection on. That's 4 is really good on 3DS. I really enjoyed 4. So I would recommend that if it does ever come to Switch. You should check it out. It does have some of the Persona stuff, especially with the demons and everything. but it's also a tad different and in the way it's set up. So
Nice.
it doesn't
Yeah.
have the style of Flash or Persona.
Hopefully. Hopefully they bring it over. It'd be cool to try it.
One for me that I'm looking forward to is Biomutant.
Yes.
I'm excited for this game. It's it's an open world thing, but I mean, you're a cat. And like, why do you not? Like, more people should be like excited for this game. Like, you're freaking playing a cat with a big ass sword, and you get to destroy stuff. I mean, I'm awesome with that. So, plus watching gameplay, it looks really fun, and I'm ready to go with this. And of course, I mentioned already, Aeronauts Never Yield. It's a runner, a platformer, but I mean, that music sounds awesome, and just I love the style in that game. It looks great. So I'll be talking about it for sure next week. But definitely, people should check that out when it comes out on Wednesday. And, I know you mentioned, Matt, you're a visual novel guy. Are you excited for World's End Club?
Yeah, I am actually. I love Danganronpa. So getting more from that studio has me very, very interested. I'm curious to check a little more because I think it's already out on like Apple Arcade. If I'm correct, so right. I might check it out there first, and if it grabs me, then I might pick it up on Switch.
I mean, we're all excited for Miitopia, right? On Switch.
Can't wait.
That's the big game.
Can't wait.
Go for it. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much till like the end of the month, and then we gotta you start
and then June. Oh boy, June.
Yeah. Oh God, E3 week. Why did you do this to us? Like, 3 major releases all on the same freaking day of E3 week. Final Fantasy VII Remake with the Yuffie DLC, the remaster, Ratchet and Clank, and the Ninja Gaiden collection. So
that's a heavy day.
Holy crap. It's a heavy day. And then, and the Guilty Gear Strive comes out the next day too if you're a Guilty Gear fan. And also that game Builder Garage, like, Nintendo, what the hell are you doing? I guess you want to set that game out there to die or something. I don't know. But, is anybody we asked Mark last week, but did anyone get intrigued by this, this game Builder Garage thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see more on it. Me and my son got really into those Nintendo Labos. We bought the first 2 and had lots of fun with them. This looks like it's kind of the next portion of that content, and I don't have to have a bunch of cardboard stuff all over the house after we get done. So I'm all for it.
Well, yeah, that's like a simplified game creator.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that's cool. It could teach people some programming knowledge. I don't know. Matt, is it in?
Not doing anything for me. I saw it and I was like, nah. I picked up Dreams a while back just to play other people's creations, but I'm not usually one for making that kind of stuff myself.
Yeah, that's where I've wanted to pick up Dreams too, because I always thought it was some of the stuff people create in that game is amazing. I'm like, wow, some people really have talent for this stuff.
Right? It's incredible what people can put together. I'm curious to see what people can make with Garage, but as outside looking in, I'm probably not going to be picking it up.
Considering it's Nintendo too, I mean, the way that they didn't do right by Mario Maker 2, I don't have a lot of faith with this either. So, I mean, Matt, it's been a great joy to have you on the show. Hopefully this kind of funny best friends thing keeps growing. We can all, keep having more people on. I mean, anything you wanna plug your show again?
Yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for having me on. I had a lot of fun talking with you guys. It's been a great episode. If you want to find me, I'm at Burnout_Matt on Twitter, or you can find us all everywhere at Burnout Brighter. So check us out on YouTube or anywhere else where you'll find us.
And if you're any kind of a creator, podcaster that's listening, I mean, look, everybody has a podcast now. So I get it, but it doesn't have to be just about games. It could be entertainment, it could be sports, it could be whatever, wrestling, stuff that we cover on the site. If you're a fan of any of that stuff, you can be a fan and not be a creator, because maybe you get inspired by some of the people that are in that Discord and you want to create your own as well. But if you're a creator and you haven't joined the Cunning Funny Best Friends network, I'll have a link in the Discord, and you definitely should go check it out. There's amazing people in there, and very awesome that we can all be a part. And I can't wait till E3 and what this is all going to look like. It's going to be pretty cool. I don't envy everybody that's doing all the scheduling, because I can't imagine. That is a total nightmare, especially with like every day it seems like 50 people are joining. It's like, I don't know how you're going to do this.
It's going to be wild, but we'll see how it turns out.
Exactly. Randy, what's your next chapter select?
Next chapter select, as far as at the movies, which will be this weekend, we are watching Warcraft. And
why do you guys do this stuff to yourselves? I mean, Warcraft,
because at least it's like 2 hours long, and we can get it over with, I think. And then we are doing Resident Evil 8 next week.
Awesome.
For the normal chapter select. Again, I already have it done. Jens is early on, so we might not be doing the whole game in 2 weeks, but yeah, Resident Evil 8 in 2 weeks, and then Warcraft. Because listen, there's no good video game movie, so no matter what we do, anytime we do chapters like that, the movies, we're doing pain to ourselves. So
that's true too.
And we've already watched all of the Paul W.S. Anderson group, so I mean, we're holding off on Yui Bowl as long as we can. But there
can't wait to go see the Mario movie.
Oh God, yeah, it's coming.
Well, you can catch us. I said this is the new spot for the show each week, but actually next week we're going to do the show on Sunday, going into Monday, because that's when our next guests are available. So we will have more guests from the KFVF Discord joining next week. Actually, 2 of them on the same show to talk about Xbox's E3. And along with whatever else is going on next week that we'll be talking about as we get closer and closer. This is going to be crazy. What all is going to get shown in those 4 days of E3, everybody's press conferences and all that stuff. It's going to be fun to get through there. But listen to us on wherever there are podcasts. You know where we're at this point. Spreaker's our host, but you can listen to us on the site, wtmnet.com, on Last Word on Gaming. You can also listen to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, wherever the hell there are, iHeartRadio, wherever the heck you decide to punch that button and hit subscribe. That's what matters. You know, ring the bell. Hey, you know what? Let us know what you think about this video. Should we keep doing it? Y'all enjoy this, seeing our faces for 2 hours. I mean, I can't imagine you enjoyed that all day, but like still, at least, you know, we gave you something to watch and not listen to us all the time. And thank you for Randy for recording this and making it easier on us. And thank you to Jens for doing he is not on the show. Sometimes he guests. He does our editing on the audio side. So thank you to Jens for that. As always, for Mark and myself and everybody, hey, go enjoy your games. Have fun. We'll see you next week. Later.